Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Chief Mike Soelberg, Gilbert Police Department. This is now the 6th week that we've come together with the media to help share information about our group teen violence cases, so thank you for being here. As a recap, since February of 2022, we have made 42 arrests related to group teen violence cases. Of these arrests, 27 arrests have been since January of 2024. This week, we made 2 additional arrests related to a previously unreported assault and a robbery investigation. In January 2024, we received a video from another jurisdiction's investigation. From that video, we were able to identify the individuals involved. This incident occurred in September of 2023 at the In-N-Out parking lot here in Gilbert. As a result of our investigation, we were able to make 2 arrests. On Tuesday, February 20th, we arrested a 17-year-old juvenile that was arrested and referred to Maricopa County Attorney's Office on charges of aggravated robbery, assault, and disorderly conduct. The next day, last night, on February 21st, we re-arrested 20-year-old Jacob Pennington. He was re-arrested at the MCSO jail with aggravated robbery, charges of aggravated robbery. This is the 2nd time the Gilbert Police Department has arrested Jacob Pennington. The prior incident was an aggravated assault in December of 2022 at the In-N-Out parking lot. He was also arrested previously by Pinal County Sheriff's Office on an investigation in Pinal County. I mentioned a few weeks ago the dangers of posting personal information of others online, especially inaccurate information. Doxing is a term used to publicly identify or publish private information about someone, especially as a form of punishment or revenge. In Arizona, doxing is charged under the statute, use of an electronic communication to terrify, intimidate, threaten, or harass. I can tell you that we have 8 investigations involving doxing from incidents ranging from November of 2023 to February of 2024. These incidents involve Gilbert residents being harassed by persons because of their alleged connections to the teen violence investigations. Of these 8 cases, we have cleared 2 by arrests. We currently have 2 active investigations. 3 cases were exceptionally cleared because the victims did not desire prosecution. And then with the last case was an unfounded case. We weren't able to establish that a crime had occurred. Let me be clear that we want justice for each and every victim in Gilbert. We know the community wants justice as well, but we can't have vigilante justice where citizens are publishing personal information that can and has enabled others to verbally harass innocent individuals, and we can't pick and choose which cases we investigate. We will investigate all crimes in Gilbert. The 2 arrests that I mentioned involve subjects that posted the address of a family who purchased a home from a family of a person of interest the year prior. Individuals posted the address, and the new residents have been harassed by individuals driving by the house and harassing the family. We have not identified the individuals that were actually doing the harassing at the residence, but we have cited and released the 2 individuals who posted their information online. Each of these cases that I mentioned will be investigated for evidence of doxing. The evidence will be collected and if probable cause exists, charges of doxing, threats, or harassment will be filed. Again, I want to thank the media and the community for helping us share information on these cases, the photos and the videos. Last week, we shared 4 different cases with you, different photos and videos. Thanks to the input from the community, we were able to identify the male and the the male and the female that were inside the vehicle when that assault occurred. The other 3 cases, however, we are still looking for information on who those individuals are that were involved. We will be updating our teen violence webpage to reflect those updates. And in addition to that, we continue to encourage anyone who has been a victim of crime in Gilbert or has any information about crimes occurring in Gilbert to contact the Gilbert Police Department. Provide that information to us so we can bring justice to everyone. A reminder that our next teen violence subcommittee meeting will be next Monday, the 26th, at the Southeast Regional Library from 6 to 8 p.m. And with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Holden with ABC 15. I wanted to ask you about something that was in court documents, in Jacob Pennington's court documents. The victim said that she didn't report the incident that you were just talking about because of fear of retaliation. The family said that 20 to 30 subjects in ski masks showed up at their house. What do you have to say to that? Was that reported? I mean, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, so I'll talk in general terms and I'll talk specifically about that. We have had cases where people, as I mentioned, a lot of these arrests that we've made since January are cases that were never reported to the police department. They've been reported after Preston was killed in December and January. We received a lot of these videos. And in this case specifically, as you mentioned, that was part of their fear, the victim's fear in reporting it. She was afraid of retaliation. So the initial assault was not reported, and then that incident where several individuals came to the house, that was not reported as well. So again, we encourage the community to not be afraid. We will walk you through that process. There are ways to protect our victims. So we encourage, if you have any information, whether as a witness or a victim, to please come forward to the Gilbert Police Department or any other jurisdiction.
Hi, Bob Lucas, KTR News. Yesterday I spoke with County Attorney Rachel Mitchell and I asked her for any updates on the investigation into the death of Preston Lord. And she said there was an update that Gilbert is now working with prosecutors on that case. Can you at all describe that work or what that means?
So I saw that interview as well. In regards to we're constantly communicating with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. We did have a meeting specifically last week to update them on our cases. Nothing specific to Queen Creek's case, but our investigations, the updates of where we're at with each one, as well as the progress we're making on the investigation into the Gilbert Goons.
Chief Gilbert with 12 News, thank you again for hosting this. I did want to ask you about those indictments that were announced today, one of them being against Kyler Renner. Drug possession charges, they said that stemmed from a traffic stop that happened in March of 2023. Can you tell us why it took so long for us to get here since that traffic stop was in 2023?
So that was an ongoing investigation, and so part of, like I've mentioned in the past, whenever we have a crime that's alleged, whether we on-view it or whether it's reported to us, we have a process of making sure we establish all the evidence needed. And in that case, in addition to what we saw that day, we needed to do some further investigation in order to have a complete case and provide that probable cause to the county attorney's office.
Hello, Marcus Ripey with Arizona Republic. In the case of group assaults, what exactly is the criteria for arrest? Is it like a punch or a kick?
So when we've talked about group teen violence, we are looking at cases where it's more than one-on-one fights. It's either 2, 3, or 4, sometimes more individuals that are assaulting 1 or 2 people. So in all those cases that I mentioned, which the 42 arrests from February of 22 to now, those are not just where 2 people fought. We have incidents like that, but the ones where I talk about group teen violence, those are where you have multiple people engaging in an assault or robbery of other individuals.
Can you give us an update on where you guys are at with the Gilbert Goons investigation? This is the second time ski masks have been brought up in court documents related to these teen violence assaults.
Yeah, regarding our Gilbert Goons investigation, not much further than what I told you last week. We have made significant progress with that investigation. We are reviewing all of our cases and that criteria to establish whether a group can be identified as a gang. And so that is ongoing. I don't have an update as far as when that will be concluded, but we are making a lot of progress on that. And in addition to that, as we go through our information, communicating with those other 5 agencies as well as the county attorney's office.
Sorry, we have a lot of questions here. The calls for your resignation have gotten louder this week. Do you have any response to that?
I understand frustration of the community. but I can reassure you that as chief and as a parent, we want justice for all of our victims in Gilbert. We understand that the criminal justice process can be slow or have the appearance of being slow, but we have always and we will continue to work all of our cases. We want justice for all of our victims. That's been a goal of mine, a goal of all of our officers, all of our detectives, and we are unwavering in bringing justice to all of our victims. We will continue to actively investigate all of our cases and bring justice to our victims here in Gilbert.
Chief, I was speaking yesterday to one of the activists who's followed this and tracked this closely, and it was her belief, take it with a grain of salt, that there were at least 5 people who have been identified in videos who have not been arrested at this point. I think there may be a little bit of a disconnect from what the public thinks versus when you talk about probable cause. Can you explain a little bit what that might mean to policemen in your terms versus what the public might hear on that?
Yes, thank you, Tom. So anytime we have I'll use aggravated assault as an example, we have to evaluate all of the evidence, not only whether it's on video or not, evaluate what we're seeing on the video, but talk to all those individuals involved, whether it be a witness, a suspect, victims, and in addition to documenting the crime, but also can we establish why it occurred, and then any follow-up that needs to be taken after that. So we've had, in a lot of these videos that we've received, we've been able to identify victims but not suspects, and with the help of the community we've been able to identify those suspects. The cases I shared last week, we know who the suspects are in the majority of those cases, except for the one at the parking garage. But in the other cases, we are trying to identify who the victims are. We can make additional arrests once we get those victims identified. But in all the cases where we've identified the victim and we've identified the suspect, we have made arrests in all of our cases. And when I talk about cases spanning from 2022 to now, and those numbers seem large, specifically, as I mentioned, out of the cases that were reported after Preston Lord was killed, out of those 27 arrests, 17 of those arrests were based on videos and information we received in December and January after Preston was killed.
In regards to that 17-year-old female that was arrested this week, I was wondering, can you provide any details in relation to what attack that was or any kind of details on that case?
So just what I provided you before, we arrested a 17-year-old juvenile. We referred the charges to the county attorney's office. It was related to a video that we obtained from another agency's investigation. We were able to identify all of the individuals involved. We made those 2 arrests today. It was from an incident in September of 23 at the In-N-Out parking lot. But the details of how and why it occurred are within the report, and I'll just leave it at that for now.
We're just going to have 2 more questions.
Can you share at all what agency that video came from, and is she being considered as part of the Gilbert Goons gang investigation?
So that video came from Mesa Police Department, from their investigation, one of their investigations. And that case, along with any other case involving group teen violence, we are looking for any connection to, whether it be Gilbert Goons or any connection of the other cases.
All right, and this is going to be the last question.
You've had 2 cases that you've submitted to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office with 2 teens, 1 incident, their charges turned down. People in the community are frustrated by that. You know, what's your response to that frustration?
Yeah, I totally understand their frustration. Our role as law enforcement officers is to establish probable cause to show that a crime occurred, and then probable cause to show that that individual committed the crime. Our thorough investigation, we established probable cause that a crime occurred and that that individual was involved in the crime. Keep in mind that there is a different standard for us, probable cause is a less standard than proof beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what's needed for a conviction. And so there are criteria that the county attorney will review in reviewing a case to determine whether to move forward with the case. I'll refer you to the county attorney's office on anything specific to the case. But in our case, we look at probable cause, and if we have a probable cause, we will submit a case. All right, thank you for being here. We will keep you updated as we continue to progress through our cases. Have a good night.